In example 2 for section 3.6. There we go. Now you can see it. All right. We're kind of doing the same stuff, but we're going to be doing reflections instead of translations. 3.6, example 2. Let f of x equal 3x plus 2. There's the parent function. It says to graph g of x when f of x is equal, or when f of x is negative. So basically, we're going to reflect on the x-axis. When we see the negative is outside of the parentheses, we're going to reflect on the x-axis, and I'll show you how to do that. First, let's graph our parent function. It's crossing the y-axis at the 2, and slope is 3, so 1, 2, 3 over 1, 1, 2, 3 over 1. Okay. Now, what you could do is make a table, and you have all your x's and your f of x numbers, right? Now, here we have when x is a -1, the y, or f of x, is going to be -1. When x is 0, y is at the 2. When x is 1, x is, or f of x, or y, because this is also y, equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, we want to graph the negative f of x. So we're basically taking the opposite of what f of x is. What's the opposite of -1? 1. Opposite of 2? -2. Opposite of 5? -5. So when x is -1, our negative f of x is 1. So that will go, right? When x is -1, y is 1, right there. When x is 0, negative f of x is -2. 0, -2. When x is 1, negative f of x is -5. 1, -5. Graph it. Pretend that's straight. Okay. Now, it's reflected on the y-axis. So if I put a mirror there, that's the image of it, what it would look like. Now, yeah, you can memorize how, oh, the negative's on the outside of the function. We're taking the negative function, so we're going to reflect it. Just change all your f of x numbers, opposite numbers, and plug them onto the graph, and well, there you go. Part B, the negative is in the middle, or it's inside the parentheses. It's inside the parentheses. And according to your book, when it's inside the parentheses, you reflect on the y-axis. So we're going to reflect on y-axis. You need to know these things because you're going to use them all the time in geometry. All right, so again, I'm going to graph my original function, the parent function. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. Okay, and I'm going to reflect on the y-axis. So this I could do without doing a table. Watch, I'll show you. So let's say this is, if I'm reflecting on this axis, right? On the y-axis, how far is this point from the y-axis? It's 1 unit away. So if I go 1 unit on the other side, it's like a mirror. I'm reflecting. That one is on the y-axis, so it doesn't even move. This one is also 1 unit away from the y-axis, so let's just go 1 on the other side. And there we go. I reflected it on the y-axis. Or you could just change all of your numbers if you did the graph. You have your x and your f of x. When x was a -1, your f of x was -1, 0, 2, 1, 5. Now change x to negatives. That's all you're doing. So if we make x negative, these all become opposites. And then you just, when x is 1, f of x, -1. 1, -1. When x is 0, f of x is 2. That didn't change. X is -1, f of x is 5. Okay? This one will require some practice to master how to move graphs. So good luck. Use the notes in your book or the pages in your book, the examples, and your notes to help you with the homework.